What is going on, everybody? We are mother effing live right now. Shout out to everybody hanging out. I'm getting my audio set up. It has been a while. It's been a while since I've gone live, but we are back talking about some of the latest NFL news around the world, specifically on my favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders. We got some stuff coming up for that. We got a lot of stuff coming up, actually. I can't even go through, and this is just off the top of my head. We're going to actually enjoy some more things later on, talking about the draft, talking about post-free agency, talking about a guy that I still appreciate, Devontae Adams, and he said some interesting things today, and I appreciate all of you hanging out right now on a beautiful Sunday. We are usually free on Sundays. Sunday's the day where, for those of you of faith, go to church, right? Enjoy the Sabbath. You don't work. And after that, most of us, we enjoy football on Sunday. And now the fact that we don't have a game at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock Pacific time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, there's just an empty void, a huge hole in our life. And isn't it so crazy that this is not going to be filled until several months? Thankfully, we have free agency. Thankfully, we have the draft. Thankfully, nowadays, and this is one of my rants, and I'm going to start all these live streams with a little rant here. Thankfully, we have social media. Now, oftentimes we do make fun of and criticize social media and criticize the fact that players are on it more. It's a distraction. But from the fan side of it, we're able to find out so much how a player feels about their organization, another team they may be interested in, another team that they may want to be drafted to. Are they going to randomly post a picture of themselves in that uniform? Are they randomly going to post a video of them just coincidentally hanging out with a certain quarterback, right? If it wasn't for social media, when it comes down to the NFL and the fact that it's pretty much only 4 months a year, when you really think about it, September, October, November, December, January, we're pretty much in playoffs, and for the vast majority of the teams, they ain't in it. So when you look at all that, I guess that will be a theme maybe for this live stream. I'm thankful. I am thankful for social media. I'm thankful for social media and the off season. I want to see some players do some crazy shit to let me know what's about to happen later on in the season. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I am going to be reacting to the chat live too during this. Shout out to we got a Ravens fan in here, loves the stuff. Benjamin, appreciate you. And you know what? Some people upset in the chat that there hasn't been regular updates, and I totally understand that. And maybe I don't like to talk about myself on this channel, but I'll pull back the curtain for about 20 seconds and we're going to get into the real shit, right? Yeah, man, it's been harder to post regularly for me, especially transitioning from the season to the off season. I've been through a lot of transitions in my channel. This started out as a Raiders only channel, and then crazy enough, especially in January, a little bit in December, some of our biggest videos were just about the biggest stories in the NFL on a one-off. I just thought, hey, I had some opinions about the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl. Why don't I make a video about that? Hey, I got some opinions about the Joy Taylor Fox News lawsuit. Let's make a video about that. And it's been growing and growing and growing, and I think we're finding our groove, and there will be regular updates. We're going to try to do it all. But you know what? In order to do it all, and in order to cover every story in the NFL and every update about some of our favorite teams, specifically the Raiders in my case, I think I'm going to need your guys' help. I'm going to need your guys' help, and that's why I do want to start doing these live streams more. Hang out and talk about these latest stories. Send some links. Did you see anything crazy? Hit me up, or hey, do you want us to check out something in particular? We could find out all this on these live streams. So we're going to start doing that more to make sure we have fun and don't miss these damn updates, man. And you know what? Shout out to Mateo. We got Giants fans here. See, you got to let me know. Hey, Willie, there was a spicy press conference with Brian Dable the other day. He looked like he wanted to choke out a reporter. I'm saying this as a joke. That didn't happen. But things like that, man, we could stay on top of it all together. But first, we got an order of business to take care of right now. And let me actually make sure. How are you guys doing? A 1 out of 10. How are you feeling today on a Sunday afternoon? 10 being you're the happiest you've ever been. 1 being you're the freaking saddest you've ever been. Let me know right off the top. And in the meantime, I'm going to let you know about the sponsor of today's live stream, Underdog Fantasy. We did a lot of picks with Underdog this past season, reacting to games news. Tons of fun. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing app in the industry. And what you do is you play this pick'em game. We know the NFL season is over, but we got NHL, NBA, WNBA, all kinds of stuff. And you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You can win up to 1,000 times your money in one night. And I personally like this even more during the offseason. NFL, I'm into every NFL game. Like, it doesn't take much to get me pumped up about a game, even if it's not my favorite team. And when it comes to the offseason, I might need to put some skin in the game to really care about Caitlin Clark this week, right? You got stuff like that happening. So Underdog's great for that. Check out the link in the description and pinned comment below. Use my promo code Wi-Fi for a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash on your first-time players. So sign up, go to underdogfantasy.com, find them in the Google or Apple Play Store. Use code Wi-Fi for a free pick, link in the pinned comment and description. Get a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash for first-time players. So go ahead and let me know who's getting higher or lower in points this week in basketball, because I am not that informed in basketball. I do not have a basketball channel. I'm very open about that. But you guys let me know, and check out Underdog Fantasy too. I should have not had this chat on here during this portion of it. Sorry, Underdog, if anybody said anything bad. Okay, so first order of business happened here. I am going to cover the Bears more. And by the way, some people in the chat are saying, hey, am I blocked? Am I blocked? Literally, I don't know why I do this. People tell me I shouldn't. Literally, members of my own channel tell me not to do this. And yeah, I always just go through and I'll unblock, because I know so many people get blocked by mistake, and it's nobody's fault. It's super hard moderating. I have some friends helping out moderate sometimes. But yeah, dude, like we'll go through and we'll just unblock everybody. And by the way, if you're like a YouTuber starting out YouTube, a free tip is, like, if somebody said something bad in the past and you blocked them, that will go away and you can unblock them and they can get a second chance. Give them a second chance, man. Everybody should be able to ask for forgiveness and get a second chance in this life, man. We got to stop saying, hey, just because somebody called Wifiwillie horrendous names, you know, maybe they've lightened up. Just because somebody threatened to find Wifiwillie, maybe they've lightened up a little bit and they're a little bit nicer. Maybe they've changed a little bit, dude. But hell yeah, dude. Drink enchiladas. Damn, I wish I was drinking enchilada, but I've been going way too hard lately. And you know what? It's time to not keep going hard. Let's lighten up. Let's get into the news. And let me know in the chat, dude, anything else I'm not covering. But this big thing here in the news, I'm very interested to see what is going on here. Shedeur Sanders, who is set to be one of the top quarterbacks in this draft. Now it's looking like Cam Ward is for sure the #1 pick based on all the draft experts. I mean, we have surprises every year, but I feel like last year and when it comes to the year before, 2023, 2024, when it comes to the NFL draft, we really didn't have any surprises besides the Falcons taking Michael Penix Jr. If any other team would have taken him around that same time, I don't think it would be that surprising. Bo Nix was a little surprising being taken early, but if you were following the news, you knew that Sean Payton liked Bo Nix. Now, what we have going on here and what makes this a little more interesting is the fact that Geno Smith, who did not write back though, the former Seattle Seahawks quarterback, former Jets second-round pick in 2013, and now the Raiders quarterback teaming up with Pete Carroll. And I got to tell you, man, I haven't really been this optimistic since the Raiders had Derek Carr with Geno Smith. So I'm really excited to see him get his opportunity. I think he's a high character guy and has plenty left in the tank too. So I'm really excited to see what happens there. But the question is, what about the future? Raiders got to sign Geno to a contract extension. We'll get into that in another video, but let's talk about Shedeur Sanders in particular. The Deion Sanders kind of cloud that hangs over him. This is the difficult thing that I think is hard for us to decipher. Is this cloud of Deion Sanders over Shador helping his draft stock, or is it tanking it? Do people find that, I don't really know if I want to roll with this guy. Deion's going to be all up in the business. And this was a legit concern at the NFL Combine. You have Vic Tafur of The Athletic, who's been writing there for like 20 years. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but he's been writing there for a long time. This guy knows his stuff. And he was saying two things that he heard the most this week are that teams are worried about Shador's baggage, and we're really impressed with Jalen Milroe's interviews. And there's another thing that's going on too. The New York Giants, who are picking at pick 3, they have met up with Russell Wilson and they're interested in Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you're picking at pick 3, and if Shador Sanders is really a franchise quarterback, if you're the Giants, man, I know you want to win now in year 1, or I know you want to win now in 2025 because you're on the hot seat. John Mara, the owner of the Giants, has pretty much told Brian Daboll and the GM Schoen over there that they got 1 year to figure this shit out. And if they don't, it's sayonara. They know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. So the Giants want Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is kind of playing hooky. We'll get into that later on. But if Shador's really like supposed to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, I don't see why there's such reluctance from the Giants and from other members of the media to say that the Giants are gonna take him or have their solution at quarterback at pick 3. It seems like the media and the fact that the Giants are meeting with other QBs like Russell Wilson, like they want Aaron Rodgers, to me that just shows that they don't think Shador Sanders could be a starting quarterback in the NFL this year for sure, and will take some time. And when we're hearing these questions about Shador Sanders, the baggage of having somebody like Deion, even if Deion's a great guy, I don't know if people have different opinions about the Sanders family because of the flashiness, right? And the confidence, which could be characterized as cockiness, right? That rubs some people the wrong way. Some people enjoy that. It's kind of difficult to decipher. But aside from that, if you're really not looking for a QB to start in year 1, you're going to roll with a veteran anyways. I find it quite interesting that we're talking about Jalen Milroe doing well in interviews, because if you're just looking for an athletic guy, this dude is way more athletic than Shador Sanders, and maybe you opt to take him in the 2nd or 3rd round than picking high and have him sit behind a veteran QB. So Shador was addressing these concerns. We see him. We'll talk more about him working out with Geno Smith, because we know Shador Sanders and Deion are good friends with Tom Brady. But okay, before we get into Shador at the Combine and some other stuff that's been said, him talking about his draft stock, let's just talk about this. Geno Smith is supposed to get a contract extension with the Raiders. And what's really interesting is it turned out that the Seahawks were kind of not being 100% about what exactly happened in these contract negotiations. So
did he ever counter it?
Right. So the idea is that the Seahawks offered $35 million, and they're trying to say that Geno just said, "Oh, well, I want to leave and play with Pete Carroll, so I'm dipping out." Well, Mike Garofalo of NFL Network is kind of saying something a little different here.
Yeah, he wanted 45.
He wanted 45,
and they were around 35.
Yeah.
So it was a sizable gap. And in the end, could it have been bridged at 40? Probably. He comes down, they go.
So interesting thing there. Now, I don't want to show too much of that, but Mike Garofalo basically saying Geno wanted 45 and Seahawks said, no, we want you at 35. And then he dipped to the Raiders. So the bro's going to get 45. Raiders got cash to give 45. Shador, good friends with Tom Brady. Deion, good friends with Tom Brady. Is this really a situation? I mean, I could definitely see Shador fall into pick 6. We're going to talk more about Shador in just a couple seconds. I can see Shador fall into freaking, I hate to say it, dude, I could see him going late in the 1st round. Shador, it is getting so bad where we kept joking around about, oh, will the Cowboys move on from Dak and draft Shador because Jerry Jones loves freaking Deion Sanders. This, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens on draft night. It is getting to that point. I could even see if the Giants do not take Shador Sanders, I could even see the Cowboys trading back and grabbing Shador Sanders. And if he's a QB who has to sit for a year or two anyways, so what? So what? Let him sit behind Dak and then move on from Dak. And dude, you think Cowboys fans like this is all about money. Shador doesn't even have to be great or contribute immediately to the team if he joins the Cowboys for them to make money. They will make serious cash if Shador rolls through in that Dallas Cowboys uniform. Let me just, by the way, yeah, let me just get this little background going because I really don't like, oh, geez. Okay, never mind. We'll just, I just want the chat to be readable. So, what is the, you know what? We're doing this Willie style. We are going to fix this crap. Okay. Dude, I am going to fix this in real time. And you guys are going to be like, wow, Willie is like actually, that is actually pretty cool. And by the way, don't let me forget what I was talking about. Do not let me forget what I was talking about. Don't I sound like a I'm like a pretty fast typer. It actually makes it seem like, oh dude, this dude's like on the computer too much. This guy's cringe, you know what I mean? All right, let's see if this is gonna work. Try to fix the chat so we can actually freaking read it. All right, we'll see what's up. Big Willie style. I need to stop saying that. I definitely need to stop saying that. Okay, I don't think this is gonna work. All right, so yeah, it's gonna look how it's gonna look. All right, cool. All right. Anyways, back to this. And when we're talking about Shador, and this is the big thing for me. So this is how it all started out the combine. So we had this update in February 28th of Shador at the combine. And then after the combine, we had a very alarming update where Shador is starting to sound insecure. That I'm going to do a little rap for Shador Sanders since he has his music Perfect Timing, his hit song, which honestly is not that bad. I thought it was going to be worse, but Shador Perfect Timing is not that bad. Get this shit up here right now. Start typing in the chat, guys. I want to see if this shit's going to work. Start typing in the chat because I want this shit to pop up. Oh, there it goes. All right. So check him out at the combine. This was Shador Sanders, showing some more confidence at the combine and why he thinks he can be an impact guy in the NFL.
I've been through 6 different OCs, so I'm able to adjust to any offense and every scheme and make it work. We went from Jackson State to Colorado and changed 2 programs back to back. So you don't think I could come to an NFL franchise and change the program again? It's history. We done it again. It's always gonna repeat itself. I've been through.
All right, so the dude is very confident. You don't think that I could come in the NFL and change an organization? I did it in Colorado. I did it, with the HBCUs, but then when he was collaborating with a streamer, and this is after the combine, after he's met with some teams, after we started getting some reports and rumors about where Shador Sanders may land when it comes to this draft, and now we're not getting the optimism that we saw earlier.
What you doing wearing that hat?
Man, I'm a Raider fan, man.
All right.
I'm praying for you, man.
You want him to go to Raiders?
I want to go to Raiders so bad. I hope the God they trade up for you. But
well, everybody trying to make my stock drop right now, so who knows, man?
Nah, hell no.
So there you hear it. It's a Raiders fan talking to Shador. I hope they draft you. I hope they trade up. And one thing that I noticed, I do like body language, and some people say I'm looking too into it. Right when he says trade up, you could see like Shador kind of acknowledges that that's very unrealistic.
I hope the God they trade up for you. But
he looks down rather than continuing to look up. I know that I'm analyzing the body language too much, but I think this is a serious thing. I mean, people do react physically. By the way, look it up, bro. They even say like 90% of communication is nonverbal. So if you're not studying body language, you're studying nothing. And then he's talking about the draft stock.
Well, everybody trying to make my stock drop right now, so who knows, man?
nah, hell no. We're Raiders.
Trying to make it drop.
You know just how life get. But it is what it is. It's fool's gold. It ain't real. Don't believe media. But yeah.
It ain't real. Don't believe media. And I'm just like, this guy's always been super confident. Like, that's how we know Shedeur Sanders. He's Deion's kid. He's confident. And if you don't like that, like, you're just a hater is sort of the narrative that they've put together. And look, I do think an element of that is true. I do think that he faces more criticism because he is Deion Sanders' kid. However, these guys are really confident and cocky all the time. I mean, let's just that's still true at the end of the day. And I'm seeing less confidence from Shedeur Sanders. This is right before free agency. This was on March 6th. Free agency happened on March 12th. 13th-ish, right? And we've seen Geno Smith join the Raiders. And even though these guys are hanging out, posting pictures together, by the way, it was Shedeur Sanders who originally posted this. Geno Smith reposted this picture. And I just feel like, and look, this is me guessing. I'm not going to say that I know that they're doing this or whatnot. But from what I can tell, I mean, you guys can tell me if you feel the same way. I think he's trying to inflate his draft stock before the draft, which he should definitely do. I mean, it's in his rational interest to pump up his draft stock as much as possible right before the draft so he can get the biggest contract in the first round, hopefully not fall to the second round and don't get one of those late round first round picks. So I think he's trying to do this. I think he's trying to drum up interest by saying, ooh, maybe the Raiders are interested in me. Let me take a little pick with Geno, right? We saw him do this in January. I don't have it pulled up right here. I could bring it up, where he was with Malik Neighbors, right? And the Giants, like we talked about earlier, have the third pick in the NFL draft. So he was throwing a ball. You're right here. Right. Here we go. Yeah, he was throwing passes to Malik Neighbors in New York. This was kind of another stunt to show like, hey, maybe I'm going to join the Giants here, right? Right. This was in December. And, you know, he's smart in that way, like Deion Sanders. Shedeur knows how to work the media to his advantage. And hats off to him and hats off to Deion, because so many times in the NFL, players get screwed by the media, and the media plays them and does things to hurt their financial security, does things to hurt their negotiations and contract talks, right? So he knows how to play the media, and a lot of respect for him, even though personally, I personally, my opinion on this, and I'm not claiming to be the biggest expert in the world, personally, it's quite obvious that Cam Ward is the number one quarterback in the draft and Shedeur Sanders is not. And prior to going into free agency, a lot of people were even considering maybe Shedeur Sanders will be the first quarterback picked in the draft after going through that Colorado Buffalo season. That's what a lot of NFL insiders are saying. That's what was on television, right? If you're talking about the draft. And now it's clearly not the case. And I think the fact that teams wanted to pay Geno Smith $45 million. Teams wanted to give like the Seahawks, Sam Darnold, $33 million a year. Teams are right now fighting for Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson, not so much, but the Giants and the Steelers are fighting for Aaron Rodgers. We're going to talk about that later on the stream. Clearly, they don't believe that Shedeur Sanders is worth a first-round pick because, look, out of all the quarterbacks available, there's nobody right now who's a free agent who you're like, all right, like, you know, you can win 10 games with him. It's going to be totally chill. I still root for veteran QBs like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not going to just sit here, even though I like both those guys. I'm an NFL fan of those two guys and their careers. I'm not going to sit here and say that they could lead the Steelers or obviously the Giants to 10 wins. I don't think that's likely at all, even if they join those teams. But clearly, these teams are very scared about just taking Shedeur Sanders because you would just do it with a first-round pick, and you wouldn't be hunting for these other options too. Especially considering the fact that the Browns, who are going to have the second pick in the draft, traded for Kenny Pickett, and they're now trying to get Russell Wilson. I mean, that's just crazy. And what's interesting about the Browns is we know Myles Garrett was upset about his situation with Cleveland, and he got a fat contract. Was it the money that shut him up, or did they? Because he got $40 million a year. He's getting paid $5 million more a year than Max Crosby, and I put these guys, in the same class, right? But now it's seeming like he knows what's going to happen with the QB situation. Now he's trying to argue that's part of the reason why he's down to stay. So maybe the Browns, out of all these teams, if the Giants aren't sold out on him, maybe the Browns could be the team that surprises everybody and takes Shedeur Sanders, have him work with Deshaun Watson.
I mean, do you have an idea After conversations, I do have an idea.
Okay. Do you like the idea?
I like it enough to be here smiling in front of you because I think we have a good chance of that happening and making the most out of it.
A good chance of that happening. Like, and this was recorded after free agency. Free agency is pretty much over. It's like, do you want Rodgers? Do you want Russell Wilson? Other than that, like, I don't really know who we're waiting for. Is there a veteran QB that's on the trade block that we don't know of? I don't think so. Really? I mean, there's nobody, and especially at this point in free agency, a lot of money's been guaranteed with the start of the new league year and all that for future years, like 2026. So like people like Kyler Murray are definitely not on the trade block. If anything, he's locked in until after 2026 with the Cardinals. So a good chance of making that happening. Like, if I'm Shedeur Sanders, man, at this point, I'm hoping that the Browns take me, which is funny because we started this whole draft cycle thing. We started it out with Dion being like, oh, if I don't like the team, he ain't going to play there. I mean, let's just, for shits and giggles, we got to bring that back. Because think about how Dion choosing team, right? Like, or what was it? What did Dion on Shedeur? Dion Shedeur, not going to play. I got it downloaded. I'll find it. Oh, here we go. And you don't. Okay. So things have changed. And this isn't the original source clip. This is one that's sort of similar, right? And it's crazy that, like, before we got into the combine and everything, and this is how leverage, like, I'm finding this out live with you guys. It's dawning on me. It's coming to my mind. And it's so funny that it started out with, oh, Dion has all the cards. And if he doesn't want to play for the Browns, we're going to pull Eli. We ain't playing there. And now it's completely flipped. We're like, people are seriously wondering, will Shedeur be a first rounder? Like that. It would not be surprising at all if it's a Will Levis situation.
I don't think I'm not gonna sit there like a navigational system. That's my son. I'm not gonna let my son get down in no foolishness. It's not like who I would like for him to play for. It's a couple teams that I won't allow him to play for. So it's not like that. But
okay, so it's like, when we're talking about a couple teams that you want to allow him to play for, we think about the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that's just, I feel for Browns fans because they got rid of the guy who may have been the solution the whole time, Baker Mayfield, because he had a bad year with a messed up shoulder, and they dumped his ass when they shouldn't have, right? And that may have been the only guy who was willing to save the franchise, and he really put Cleveland on his back, man. So I'm just like, dude, you're like, right now, Dion's best hope is that his kid goes to the Browns. If his kid does not go to the Browns, he's going to be a backup quarterback somewhere in the second round. Maybe you get lucky in the back of the first round and you have a Lamar Jackson situation, right? Where he was picked 32, sat the majority of the year behind Joe Flacco and eventually took over. But I can't really see a team where that's happening, right? And from what we're hearing, a lot of these people don't seem hungry for Shedeur on the team. And quite possibly, maybe it's all smoke. Maybe we'll find out randomly one day. Pick six, the Raiders make it happen. Geno Smith's going to mentor him for 2 years while he's making $45 million a year. I don't know. I don't think so. I think Geno Smith's going to be on the Raiders for 3 years. I think he's going to have a lot of guarantees in that contract. And if you're paying a veteran quarterback serious money, the worst thing you could do at pick 6 or in the top pick of the NFL draft is, instead of building a Super Bowl team or a playoff team by drafting a elite blue chip player, which you can do in the top 15 picks in the NFL, you waste a draft pick on his replacement. That'd be a stupid decision that a lot of people would criticize for years to come. So I think Shedeur Sanders' outlook and future, if the Giants and Browns don't get him, which looks like not, is very grim. I will say it's very grim. Very grim. And could this team, I mean, that's another good point. This is where it gets spicy to me, because I am predicting, based on how all the money has shaken out, none of these teams, let's just go through. Let's just assume these 3 teams don't take Shedeur. His highest chance is that one of these 3 teams take him. Cam Ward's going to the Titans, though. That's pretty much a lock. one of these two teams. None of these teams are going to take him. They all got a QB. Would be kind of dumb if Vegas did it because you really want to build around Geno right now while you got him for 2 to 3 years. Saints, if you're going to immediately move on from Carr next year, but they're restructuring his contract. They are, if anything, keeping this guy, even though his mind was open to testing free agency. And I think he would have got paid a little bit better than Sam Darnold around Geno Smith money from a number of these teams. I think Cleveland and New York or Tennessee would love to have Carr better than these first rounders who are more of a gamble. San Francisco's not going to take him. Dallas would be a cool story because of the Deion connection, but that's realistically not going to happen because they're paying Dak $60 million a year. Miami, if they're really concerned about Tua's health, maybe you take a risk there. But you're looking down here, man, and I just really don't see a place where he can land other than Pittsburgh if Pittsburgh is not able to come to terms with Rodgers. And even if you grab Rodgers, maybe you got Shador sitting behind Rodgers, that would be a wild quarterback room. But Shador's running out of options, man, as we look across, and pretty much all these teams have a quarterback that they're wanting to build around right now, man. It's crazy. Perfect timing, grinding. Do you guys know his song? I'm not gonna play it. Literally, I tried to play his song and I got a little copyright thing. And here Ryan Clark, big time Aaron Rodgers hater, and I don't care what political perspective you guys come from. I do not give a crap, bro. I don't care. There's bigger things in the world than that. And you know, Ryan Clark, man, he tends to make it all about stuff that I feel like divides people. And when we're talking about why Shador Sanders is dropped in the draft, he's literally saying it's because he's black, even though Cam Ward has not dropped in the draft and he's black and he's destined to be the number 1 pick by the Titans.
Walk into the meeting and bend the knee, or he won't sit in the meeting and question himself or his abilities or his knowledge and experience in the game. I don't believe that that's arrogance. I want a quarterback that's self-assured. I want a quarterback that could cut the film on, and when you ask him a question about why did you make this throw or why was this the right in the play at the moment, because that's what he's going to have to do. And I've had conversations with Shador Sanders, and he can do that. We all know that it's not just about him.
All right, so he's basically saying this is about Shador not questioning himself, which is like, all right, dude, you got to self-criticize. Like, if you're in these combine meetings, like, I don't know, it depends what kind of QB coach wants. Maybe they want a guy who's just like, never my fault, you know, I'm badass, like, I didn't make any mistakes. I don't know. Personally, I'd like to work with someone who is able to be like, all right, that one's on me, but these ones aren't on me. You know what I mean? You got to have some great back and forth there, right?
Him being Deion Sanders' son, it's about the bravado he carries. It's about the fact that he looks a certain way. It is about the fact that the color of his skin sometimes at that position can be questioned. And I believe Shador Sanders is going to have to deal with that until he gets on the field. Now,
to me, like this would make sense like 20 years ago. 20 years ago, all right, I got you. There's a problem here where, you know, people are questioning the ability of quarterbacks based on, you know, their background, right? But I mean, we just watched Jalen Hurts win a Super Bowl. I mean, all the top QBs in the league are either, you know, partial Black Americans or Black American in total with no, you know, mixtures. I think, what was it? Kyler Murray, I didn't know that was part Korean. So he was like Black and Korean. Either way, it's just like this. We got to find something else to talk about Ryan Clark so that we can figure out what's going on in the league. Because if we're making it about race in this issue, that's just going to make it really hard to figure out what's actually the problem. What's really going on? Because I don't know a single coach or GM in the NFL where if the guy's good enough, they're going to care about that. I mean, that's just... it's preposterous for him to say this. So ESPN's got to clean it up, man. A lot of people aren't liking the ESPN these days. Pat McAfee, I think, has saved ESPN for football coverage. If it wasn't for him, dude, I think it would be a complete shit show. I really do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that. Either way, we got some more stuff to talk about. How you guys doing, man? Get the likes up. I've not asked for likes once during the stream. which I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to imply that that makes me cooler or something like that. So should we stay on theme or pivot? I kind of want to pivot and then go back. I'm going to go back to something else a little bit later, but I want to pivot and talk about another team because I feel like that Shador story was a little Raiders adjacent, but this one's also Raiders adjacent, but we're talking about the NFC. So give me a second. Let me pull some stuff up, bro. This one is, I like it. I'm not going to lie. I do like what's going on here with this latest story. We'll see what's up. Let me see. Let me go calculate more. Calculate a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So I talked about this in my free agency video, which is whatever. Oh yeah. Yes. I found it. I got a little too excited there. Yes. Let me pull this shit up. And let me see what you guys are saying. People talk about RG3. RG3 kind of does that too, but I don't think he's as bad as Ryan Clark. I think RG3 was actually playing at a time where it was a little tougher to be. It was a lot tougher to be a Black American QB when RG3 was playing. So that's my point. I feel like they're using arguments from back in the early 2000s, even 2010, that just don't really fit what's going on right now, in my opinion, with the league and just who the starting quarterbacks are in the league, right? Like, take all the other shit aside, like literally who teams are paying. It doesn't really apply anymore, honestly. It's a little wild, man. All right, so let's talk about some shit. One of the best. All right. You guys might actually already be able to hear. Okay. So, big news, man, for Raiders fans, for Jets fans, for Packers fans, and most, if not the very most, Los Angeles Rams fans, man. They have acquired Davante Adams. This, in my opinion, I said this early on, I think this was the best move in all of free agency. And this is coming from a Raiders fan. Who wishes it would have worked out. But just because I'm salty about the fact that Davante is no longer on the Raiders, I'm not going to sit here and act like this guy is still not one of the most badass wide receivers in the league. And at age, 32, still making great plays. And think about the fact that he was able to put up numbers with his new teammate, Jimmy Garoppolo, who's now on the Los Angeles Rams. And what's really crazy is, and I knew this would happen, so I went through and I watched every single Davante Adams public speaking thing after joining the Rams. I checked out some of this, and then I let it marinate for a few days because I knew this would happen. And this is exactly what happened. The guy has had a negative experience with Raiders fans, and he started taking some low-key shots at the Raiders, even at his Rams press conference. And if you don't remember, even when Davante Adams was on the Jets, and he was on the Kay Adams show, and he was asked, does he regret leaving, or does he regret forcing a trade to go to the Jets because the Jets sucked. They're doing poorly, did a little bit better, and I'm low-key an Aaron Rodgers fan, so I'm still kind of rooting for them, but did a little better during the later half there. But This was when he first started taking more shots at the Raiders. He did it in the Jets presser too when he first got traded. I'm not going to pull that up right now, but I did some videos on it on my channel if you want to go back to the past. But he started doing it once the Jets were going to have a 5-win season. He did it, and I felt like he did it again with the Rams. And look, we're going to break down what he's saying. It's not 100% wrong. It's not 100% wrong. Like, dude, I'm trying to be objective here. It's not 100% wrong.
No regrets.
No, I don't live my life like that. You drive yourself crazy. Hindsight's always 20/20. So you can sit here and look at it now and say, oh, I could have maybe stayed there, would have been more comfortable, wouldn't have had to move and all that stuff. But for me, it's about going with my gut in my life, and that's how I make my decisions. I live with them. We'll roll the dice and see what happens. And it's not really a gamble even in this situation. It's more of it's almost like an inference. It's calculated based off of, I played with we're talking about playing with Aaron Rodgers here too. This isn't like taking some crazy gamble, going somewhere with some rookie that's unproven. You know, neither of us have played as good as what we're capable of playing. But when you're rolling the dice, you'd hope that it's, you know, favoring you more. You know, you got trick dice. It still might not work, but we try to and trying to do everything that we can, and still.
So this was like towards the middle of the season. This was what, November? This was November when we're starting to realize, all right, it's not going to work out. It's going to be a bad year, right? And you know what? I gotta bring it up. I gotta bring it up because when he was on the Jets, Wi-Fi Willie Davante Adams. When he was on the Jets, it was a little bit more. There is a little bit more fire behind this. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah. There's a little bit more fire behind
all the fans, everybody who's associated with the Raiders, they see everything. They see, you know, a trade demand, and they just think it's like he wants out. He's quitting on the team.
Davante Adams has, right. And so this is where I felt like there's a little bit more fire in this one. This is pretty bad that I'm wearing the exact same shirt. That's pretty bad. But really, it's hard to find a good shirt that looks good on video, guys. But I need some new shirts. This is freaking cringe right now. Same mic, same headphones, and same freaking shirt. And how long ago was this? 4 months ago in October. Except wearing the same shit. Okay. Okay, but he was a little bit more heated here, I felt like. Raiders as well.
It's been a roller coaster for sure. It's a weird thing to say, you know, that I'm happy, but you know, obviously it was time for a change, and you know, this whole thing kind of transpired a little weird, but it's at the end of the day, we in a better place. I think that Raiders are in a better place as well, and you know, everybody can kind of move on, but definitely been a roller coaster. It was a little bit up and down, and
okay, that was when right he was first. No. This is where because at first he's like, oh, Raiders are in a better place. Then he starts going harder.
I had this talk with some of the guys, coach and you know, Tom Telesco, same thing, and I said sometimes if you don't properly, or you know, let me choose my words carefully here. I just think the usage sometimes and the way you go about things and the idea of how you're trying to get the ball to certain people, if it's not working, typically, you know, a lot of the success me and Aaron had is because we were on the same come out, you know, beat it, shut it down, and I've been where
maybe this was the
he understands how I
so it wasn't
see.
Asked.
I mean, that's where this started. I mean, all the fans, everybody who's associated with the Raiders, they see everything. They see, you know, a trade demand, and they just think it's like he wants out. He's quitting on the team. When it's more about just being able to feel like I can. I don't want that helpless feeling of feeling like I'm on the field. Not every game is going to be a 100-yard game or 150, 200-yard game, but I want to feel like I can impact the game every time I touch the field. So just having the confidence that I'll be able to make some plays and change the game. You know, if need be, versus getting out there on the field and feeling like, you know, we need too many things to go right in order for me to be successful. And when I say me be successful, I don't mean, again, me going out and having an all-pro year every time. That comes with the consistency, and, you know, I'm going to do enough right and be dialed in, and I'm going to try to be the control variable because it's already hard enough to make it work. You got the O-line, got to block, ball's got to come to you, it's got to be on time, it's got to be accurate. You know, the DB, the coverages, so many things that change. So for me, I'm going to control it with the way I run my routes, and I'm always going to have faith in, you know, that part of it. But sometimes you got to make it easier and get to a situation that allows you to be yourself.
Devon. So kind of roundabout way, and was a little bit more crazier when I saw it. But the key thing was the helpless feeling. He said he felt helpless on the Raiders. And he made another comment here when talking about, and this was on a radio show, ESPN LA. He was talking about joining, you know, the Rams and previous organizations he's been to. And we're going to show that. And I also find this other one very interesting here, which is Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not just Davante taking some shots, but Jimmy G's got some shit to say about the Raiders too, man. He made some little comments. We'll go find those as well. But let's first start with Davante.
To be honest with you, Allen Iverson helped me with kind of learning now too. Okay, I didn't start playing football.
Just didn't go play the NFL.
Yeah, what stopped me It was just too much space out there. That's what I felt.
And I'm to a better environment.
Oh, here we go.
What was it like showing the?
It was just too much.
This dude can't hang with me.
No, it was just too much space out there. That's
what nuts. And I'm like, this guy still has it. What was it like going through last year in New York? I mean, it's always rough when you don't win in the NFL, but it seems like the franchise kind of lost a rudder there. So what was that like for you in New York? And then to come to a better environment in LA.
So check this out. This is what I noticed about this. And I was doing some stuff and I saw it. And shout out to Goody. Congrats to our bro Jeremiah, first time father. My best friend Jeremiah just had his kid today. I wish I was there. He's out there in California in Fresno. Congratulations to him, man. Let's do a freaking big applause here. And I want to see, because he's been posting some updates. I want to see if we got another update here from him. Jet, congratulations to his new son. Let's hopefully his son keeps everything chill. You know, when you got a son, you gotta lock that down a little bit more. But shout out to Jet, born today, and what a great birthday to have, man. March 16th. Hopefully, hey. That's a great birthday if he becomes an NFL fan and gets into free agency. That's the perfect birthday, bro. You get all the signings and you go out with your buddies. Hell yeah, dude. So congratulations to Jeremiah. Congratulations. We got a new one. We got a new one, baby. We got a new one, baby. Appreciate you, Cody. So here's one thing that I did notice here, though. He's being asked about the drama with the Jets, leaving the Jets, now joining the Rams, a good organization. And instead of talking about the Jets, he starts talking about the Raiders.
And then to come to a better environment in LA.
Yeah, I mean, it was the right move to make, no matter how it turned out. To be honest with you, it was one of those situations, and I think everybody can kind of see what the organization over in Vegas kind of turned into by the end of the year. Which, you know, that's not me speaking down on them at all. Just the reality, right?
I always love that, and this is what Devontae does. And by the way, I love and respect this guy. He's still one of my favorite players. But this is what you got to do with the media. You got to be strategic. And one thing that he always does, and a lot of people do this, it's not just him, is whenever they're about to, you know, talk trash, they always say, and this is not me talking trash, or like, this is not me taking a shot at the Raiders, but you know how someone does that? Hey, this is not me criticizing the Raiders organization, but you know, this and this and this. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, he's not wrong.
You know, that's not me speaking down on them. It's kind of turned into by the end of the year, which, you know, that's not me speaking down on them at all. Just the reality, right? It's a much better situation for me to go play with a quarterback that's proven and somebody I played with and have a lot of experience with. So I don't regret it one bit. I got everything that I could out of that place and went there to win games. It just turned out we just couldn't win enough and couldn't finish the games that mattered. So obviously that wasn't a great feeling, but to be in a situation now where I'm coming to a organization that has a lot of swagger, a lot of juice, you know, recent success, it kind of puts me in a position where it makes me feel really comfortable about being here.
You almost had the Rams, and it was.
You know, it's crazy. He goes on more, but hey, I mean, he's not wrong. Raiders had a bad record. Raiders only won 4 games, dude. I mean, the Jets only won 1 more. Jets are also a bad organization. I think they got a horrible owner. I think they got a worse owner than the Raiders, of course, because they got an owner who's got his hands all over the product. And a lot of times people started saying that Rodgers was calling the shots there. It really wasn't that the whole time, man. Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, that guy meddles in the affairs with that team like crazy. And Devontae talking about how at least he had an opportunity to get some good stats and play with Aaron Rodgers again, rather than just suffering on the Raiders, getting passes from O'Connell and Minshew. And clearly Tom Brady and the Raiders organization, it doesn't have much faith on the quarterbacks actively on the roster of the Raiders, like Aiden O'Connell, or else they wouldn't have given Geno Smith $45 million a year. And dude, here's the thing. These teams are not loyal to players at all. These teams don't give a shit about players. They try to underpay them, screw them over all the time. Why is it that whenever a player exercises his rights, demands stuff from his team and gets it, why is he crapped on more than when organizations do that to other teams? I feel like it's wrong. I think people are just jealous that Davante Adams had the power and the sway to be able to get what he wants. It's just like, yo, I don't want to catch passes from Aiden O'Connell and Minshew this year. I don't give a shit if I win less games or even the same amount of games with the Jets. I'd rather catch passes from Rodgers. I've already had to deal with Jimmy G. I already had to deal with you removing Derek Carr, who I came here for in 2022. So, basically these past 2 years have been a complete crap show, and I'm not really trying to deal with that. I'd rather just go join the team. And clearly, this dude is so valued in the NFL, he was able to get a big contract, $23 million a year. That's $7 million away from DK Metcalf, who's getting $30 million a year and is much younger than Davante Adams. So I think it's a great deal. And honestly, I think this team, and I think with Davante Adams, Sean McVay, Puka Nacua, that young defense with, pass rushers like Byron Young, I think the Rams are going to go to the Super Bowl. I really do think if I had to choose a team right now that I would say, I think this team's going to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to shock the Eagles. They almost did without Davante Adams. Imagine them with Davante Adams instead of Cooper Kupp, and I think that was a brilliant move, basically swapping Cooper Kupp for Davante Adams. This is going to be an extremely dangerous team. And Davante, and this is one thing, dude, we forget that John Gruden was trying to recruit Davante Adams to the Raiders and almost did it before the Raiders had that hit job against John Gruden by the commissioner, Roger Goodell. And he's talked about on the Shannon Sharp show how that almost happened. He was on Club Shay Shay. And when he's doing this press conference talking about joining the Rams, which is interesting is he talks about how McVay, who is a disciple of Gruden's coaching tree, how he reminds me of him. And I think, dude, McVay is going to be able to utilize this guy really well. He may even get some consulting from coaches like Gruden.
Long since I've been a free man, but I thought he was out there too, just based off of I was talking, there's a lot of teams that reached out, but I thought he was out there too, just based off of I was talking to him more than I was talking to my wife.
Talking about Sean McVay.
He definitely showed a lot of interest, and there's a lot of teams that reached out. You never know how that process is going to go when you haven't gone through it. And being 32 years old and going through it for the first time is definitely a different experience. But
that is pretty trippy that this is the first time he's been a free agent ever, because he's just always been under contract.
To you about
it already appealed, and honestly, coming into it knowing that this may be a thing, that I would be a free agent, is already something that was on my radar. And after speaking with a lot of players, Sean and a couple of other personnel, it was clear that this is where I needed to be. Definitely the most eager organization to reach out, whether it was understanding contracts or understanding of where I am in my game. Obviously, having an opportunity to play with Matthew is a heck of an opportunity, and can't wait to get started with that. And obviously, the rest of the team, to being able to be with a contender at this point in my career is something I've been waiting for a while now, and been putting the work in to make it happen. But now we got it, so it's exciting.
That is true, dude. Like I do feel like this is the first time Davante Adams has been on like a loaded team that's already set to be a contender. Packers, it was always like, man, it's just Davante and Rodgers on offense. Wish they had some more stuff there. Defenses always go to the Packers, though, when it was him and Rodgers. Raiders, they were loaded in 2022, but then McDaniels wanted to reset, rebuild, and move off Carr. So that kind of made them, and they weren't going to be a contender immediately in year one, new system and all that stuff. This is different, dude. This is McVay. Already has had his system there for quite some time. The players know it, right? And Davante is going to be able to catch up really quickly. And this is a team that was just a few plays away from beating the Eagles in the playoffs, who eventually won the Super Bowl. And now you get a guy who is still, in my opinion, top 5 wide receiver in the entire NFL. Check the tape, bro. That's why he got $23 million a year. He wouldn't have gotten that unless it was the case.
Made a public comment just about this being a place you can see yourself finishing your career. What is it about this opportunity that feels like, I guess, maybe a storybook type of situation for you?
Yeah, well, obviously going to the Raiders after leaving Green Bay was what I thought was a storybook at that time, and it was an amazing opportunity. But being from California, obviously coming back and being really close to home, having my family in my backyard, a lot of friends that
I like that little comment, though. What he thought was storybook. I mean, bro thought he was reuniting with college teammate at least for 2 years, bro. I mean, I think they really would have done some damage in year 2.
They're in the area, so having my support system, because I'm a real simple dude. My family and friends mean a lot to me, so it's a good feeling. And
So
obviously, like I said, being a part of a great.
So I'm trying to find the McVay.
I'm just here to be out the way. He don't make it any harder than it need to be. He don't make it any harder than it need to be out there. He's simple. I mean, you look at dating back to when Megatron broke playoffs, but know how much that means to Megatron. And I in the media today about that. It's still a good feeling knowing that we connected. I think 20 at that point, because I think we played. You got a lot of respect for your game and out together on the same team. To have it be a real thing now, I certainly made sure it did not slip away. Wanted and it's a good. So it's always good when the other side or the organization views you the same way as you view. Aggressive. Tapes of myself narrating, but
here we go. Okay, this is where because we know on Club Shay Shay, yeah. Actually, no, I think it's easy to find. Yeah. Where was that one clip at in the? It's gonna be hard to find this shit. All right, screw it. Club Shay Shay though. He talked about how Gruden tried to recruit him, and he thought he might happen. And now he's talking to Sean McVay, and he talked about part of the recruiting process. It's kind of interesting.
Aggressive. I'll say aggressive, but in all the right ways though. He sent me a couple highlight tapes of myself narrating. It was kind of John Gruden-esque a little bit, and you know how he is with ball. So he's breaking down every single clip. The first one was like 7 minutes, and then he sent another one that was like probably another 2 minutes, where he's just going through everything, talking about it like he's. I thought he took that job to be on TV for a minute when I was watching it, but yeah, it just shows how much ball means to him, how much of a priority I was for him, and the rest of. The guys here, because obviously it's not just him making those decisions. So, but when you have that from a coach and you're on the free market and you don't see it from anybody else to that level, it means a lot. Kind of felt like I got gamed up a little bit, but as long as I'm here.
The guy looks happy and he is pumped about this opportunity. And if people want to downplay Matthew Stafford, and I see that in the chat, is Matthew Stafford going to do well with Devontae and Puka Nacua? Dude, they're going to ball the F out. The Giants and the Raiders were trying to give Matthew Stafford $45 million a year. The Giants and the Raiders are trying to give Matthew Stafford the bag. And he said, no, I'm going to stay in LA for 40 a year, maybe even a little less. No. They were trying to give him $55 million a year. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. I mixed it up with the Geno. The Giants and the Raiders were trying to give Matthew Stafford $55 million a year, more than what Geno Smith is about to get for the Raiders, which is $45. Instead, Stafford decided to stay with the Rams for $40-ish to $45 million a year. The fact that so many teams wanted to pay Stafford that means they believe that he has still got plenty of juice to lead him to a Super Bowl run and lift up a team at the quarterback position. And then you sprinkle on top of that Devontae Adams when you already had these great guys like Puka Nacua on your team. I don't see how this is not going to be an insanely successful team. So Devontae, he's got a lot to prove, right? Still, he's got some haters out there. And anytime you're a quarterback, anytime you're a wide receiver, aging, quarterback, aging, you're gonna have people doubt you, right? You're gonna have people doubt you. Does he still have enough gas? And a lot of people are always trying to basically devalue players who get a little older, right? And I think that's what's happening here. I think a lot of times too, I'm not as emotional as I'm emotional in some ways, but I don't get as salty as a lot of Raiders fans. And I think what's happening here is a lot of Raiders fans are just sad that they got rejected by Devontae Adams. And so now they act like they're not good. You see the same thing happen in free agency. Raiders fan will be sad that Matthew Stafford rejected the Raiders to stay with the Rams. And then they'll say, oh, well, he's not that good anyway. Right? So to me, it's just like, all right, dude, like, One moment you wanted him and said, oh, he's going to lead us to the Super Bowl. And then now that he doesn't want to be on your team, oh, well, he was mid anyways. It's just like with dating. You go to hit on a girl and, you know, she rejects you and you go, well, you're not that hot anyways. Well, then why did you hit on her in the first place? I mean, come on, let's just be real. Just own the rejection. We ain't the org yet. And let's move on. So I'm excited about the Rams, man. Exactly. I think they could have won the Super Bowl last year. Jimmy G, who's now on the Rams, he's taking shots at the Raiders organization. I've been in a bad organization, and I've seen how it could wear on you throughout the year. Just talking to my brothers, my family, didn't want to go through that again. So Jimmy G. And here's the thing, Jimmy G and Gardner Minshew, right? Not great, not good QBs, but them on the Raiders have been like, that's the worst they've ever been in their careers, despite the fact that, you know, they're getting the opportunity, right? And they're still really bad on the Raiders. And yeah, they're not great QBs, but we've never seen them be that bad. So Jimmy G under McDaniels was literally like the worst we've ever seen. Same with Devontae. It was the worst Devontae's ever been as one of the Raiders. So it's like, you can't really discredit these guys. And Gardner Minshew, a new update on him, he's now with the Chiefs organization. And the Chiefs have thought that Gardner Minshew was good enough to be their backup quarterback behind Mahomes. Now, this is not for intel, obviously, because the Raiders' new coordinators and the Raiders' new coaching staff had nothing to do with Minshew, and they're running completely different schemes. But to me, the Jimmy G, Gardner Minshew, Devontae Adams, examples of players when they're on bad organizations, you see them be the worst they've ever been. And now you got other teams that are good organizations like the Chiefs, like the Rams, organizations that have had success lately saying, you know what? I think it was just the org they were at. I think they're still pretty good, and I'm going to make this guy my number 2 QB. I'm going to make Jimmy G my number 2 QB, which is arguably like one of the most important positions in the entire NFL. You got to have a good backup quarterback to save your season, especially if you're on a bull run, man. And Jimmy G, not positive about his Raiders experience compared to the Niners one.
I mean, the core players, but the experience. When you have an organization that does that, it makes everything. I've been in a couple good organizations. It did. I mean, it exceeded my expectations. Really, just it was impressive. I've been in a couple good organizations, seen how, you know, things are run, and Sean does it top notch here. Him and all the coaches, just they're so well tied together. They're all thinking the same way, and I think when you have an organization that does that, it makes everything easier. I mean, it's hard enough to win in this league, so to not have to worry about something like that goes a long way.
So right, kind of similar to that comment that we read out loud, man, criticizing those orgs and whatnot.
Just the opportunities that maybe you guys explored.
You know, it's really more about not the opportunity, more about the situation than the opportunity. There were some opportunities, but you know, I've been in a bad organization, and I've seen how it, you know, could wear on you throughout the year. And just talking to my brothers, my family, didn't want to go through that again. So the organization plays such a key role for me. The people, how things are run. Sean and Les, you know, at the top really set the tone for the whole building, and they just they think very similarly to me. So that was a big part of my decision.
You've been a player that has been traded.
So yeah, dude. I mean, I've been in a bad organization before. I mean, I don't think he's talking about the Niners where he went to the Super Bowl and multiple NFC championship games. And look, dude, I'm a Raiders fan, but I'm straight up, bro. It ain't been right. It has not been right. And we even got Jimmy G taking shots at us. We got the Chiefs grabbing Minshew. You know, we could call these people trash, but we got to look in the mirror a little bit, man. We got to look in the mirror and I'm really concerned about that. And I hope things change, man. I hope things change where players say positive things about the Raiders on their way out. But unfortunately, you know, it seems like we're not doing it right. We're not doing it right. But Jimmy G, man, taking some shots. Devontae Adams, some shots as well. Excited about the future.
Officially a Ram. You see me, I got the colors on, LA hat. Appreciate y'all for already accepting me here, man. Let's go get some wins.
We'll see what they do, man. Already a lot of pressure there. You're gonna hope for a type of bull run. It's bull run or bust when it comes to the LA Rams, man. It really is. So a lot of pressure. But hopefully, I hope Devontae Adams, Fresno State, I hope he has the most success on his way out. And if it's not my Raiders winning the Super Bowl, I hope they win that, man. I really do. Uh-oh. We have an interesting update here. This is similar to what I was going to discuss. But now, things are shaking up in an interesting way here. Okay. What the heck is going on? All right, let me make sure I gotta find some more stuff. Okay, so all right. So at first, we had some big Stefon Diggs rumors about him possibly joining the Raiders, but things have changed a little drastically where it seems like there could be a reunion between Diggs and his former team, the Buffalo Bills, or perhaps the Raiders. I'm not sure. We know Stefon Diggs signed a contract with the Houston Texans last season. Unfortunately, he had a season-ending injury and wasn't able to finish out the whole year and have that much success out there with CJ Stroud at quarterback. But now the Raiders have added Geno Smith at QB and posted just over this past weekend, you have Geno Smith working out with Stefon Diggs. I would love to see Diggs in Vegas, man, with Geno Smith throwing him the rock. Raiders got Brock Bowers at tight end. Jacoby Myers has always been a good number 2 wide receiver, but we really need that burst and that true dominant number 1 receiver that could be there on the outside. And I think Stefon Diggs, because he's coming back from injury, man, he would be a good discount pay. And look, maybe he wants to go to a contender. Houston Texans, maybe he thought that was a contender. That was pretty much like a 1-year, $20 million contract. Raiders have enough money where Diggs might want to start thinking about his financial security, especially with no state tax in Vegas, where if it comes down to Chiefs and Raiders, and the Chiefs are only offering you $10 million, Raiders can offer you $20. If you're Diggs, you take that, bro. Like something like that could realistically happen. Geno Smith, Stefon Diggs, just over 4 months post ACL. This is amazing. ACL injury with the Houston Texans last year, and now you got him working out with Geno Smith, running some fire routes. There you go. Hey, Geno, throwing some dots to him. Let's go, bro. I mean, I like that. The bro looks like he could still move. He's obviously showing it off on Instagram, wants people to know, hey, I'm ready, I'm hungry. I know free agency ended, and when we were looking at the top receivers available in free agency, it's pretty much Amari Cooper and Stefon Diggs. If you want a veteran receiver, Keenan Allen's out there as well. I'm taking Diggs over all those guys, though. I think just, especially if he's back healthy with injury, I'm going to take that. But what's really crazy, and I do, look, okay, we got a comment in the chat, give me the ball. Guy's going to be hungry for the ball. It's kind of a good problem to have, I think. It's kind of a good problem to have a guy as good as Stefon Diggs wanting the ball on your team. I'd rather have, that's a good problem, where I got to figure out how to get this guy who's a great playmaker the ball. To me, that's a good problem to have than no playmakers, and we got to find out who we want to even give the ball to, right? It can't just be Brock Bowers. Raiders are going to need more. And when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, this could be a twist. They just extended Shakir, their speedy wide receiver. Obviously, Diggs was not available for them last year since he was on the Houston Texans, but they rolled with Matt Collins, the Buffalo Bills. They rolled with Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper dealt with some injuries after the trade, and we really never saw him really pop with the Buffalo Bills. And it almost just felt like, and I felt like this watching them in the playoffs, that if the Buffalo Bills still had Diggs, man, I think a lot of their problems would have been solved. Wouldn't have had to make the trade for Cooper, not relying on Matt Collins being one of the top targets on your team. No disrespect to those guys, but they're not Stefon Diggs. And now Stefon Diggs has posted all of his Bills photos back on Instagram. I mean, what? This is a guy who, he had that salty picture, and we always wondered if he likes Josh Allen, right? Because the Texans played the Bills, and Diggs was able to play in that game. And right before he left, he called out Josh Allen I don't know if all of these are legit. Okay, it's a fake. Okay, thank you, community notes. But we had the famous picture. Diggs, where's that stare? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? This is very dangerous that I'm just on X on my channel. So let's go ahead and just, let me find the picture first. I could probably find out on Google Images easier. But, okay. Oh, yeah.
Did you see the side eye?
No. Okay, go. Oh, all right. Okay, whatever. There we go. Okay. Right. So Bills beat the Texans, whooped that ass, honestly. I thought the Bills were a fire team last year because we all counted them out because they lost Diggs. I counted them out. I'm not going to lie. I counted them out. But they whooped some freaking ass last year. I like Cook. I like the running back. I like Allen. I like what they did last year. I like Shakir too. And then you saw Diggs after the L giving the handshake to Josh Allen. They had the little stare there, that side eye stare, bro. How could you forget that? That is so funny. Oh, dude. And it's funny when you know Stephon Diggs' character, right? How he's, give me the ball. He's a vocal guy. He's a passionate guy, right? He's got some anger, but you like to have that anger on your side, right? When everything's gelling. Are you kidding me, bro? Okay, breaking news. Let me wrap this up, and then I gotta. This is why it's good that we have live chat. All right, I gotta talk about some shit. But now you got Stephon Diggs on IG re-archiving all of his Bills photos. He had hid all his Bills photos from his Instagram, and now he has brought them back. Number 14. Could he seriously be returning to the Buffalo Bills? That's absolutely insane that we see this here. Yeah, Stephon could seriously return, man. And it has to make you wonder, was this all just a coincidence? Is it the media making a big deal about this stare? Does he still have some love for Josh Allen here? When we're looking at the Bills depth chart, let's get into this. And we got some breaking news we got to talk about in a second. Still got Trubisky, got Cook. I like Cook. Keon Coleman really never took off in year one. A little hard for the second round pick. They just signed Josh Palmer. You still got Curtis Samuel, who has a hefty contract. So unless the Bills want to give up on Keon Coleman, I don't see that big of a role for Diggs. Would Diggs be down to be a role player who sort of rotates on this Bills offense? I don't think so. And I don't think the Bills are going to cough up enough money here. Who knows what he's doing? Look, this is a thing, dude, and this is what players and agents do. I know people don't want to talk about this, but he could be in negotiations with another team right now and is using this as leverage to pump up his value. Oh, Raiders, you want Stephon Diggs? You want me, Stephon Diggs? Well, I might just go reunite with Josh Allen on a $10 million deal, right? I'm a free agent. I'm technically, I could be talking to other teams and it doesn't have to be reported. Nobody has to know about it. So if I was Diggs and I was in negotiations with, say, the Raiders, maybe I'm in negotiations with the Seahawks, who definitely need a wide receiver too, even though they grabbed Cooper Kupp recently. If I was him, this is what I'd do. Make it seem like the Bills are interested in me. Make it seem like I'm interested in the Bills. But I'm looking at the Bills and Joshua Palmer. I know they gave him a decent contract. How many 3-year contract? I believe it was roughly $10 million a year. He did some decent things with the Chargers. He's not as talented as Diggs, but he's definitely healthier. 3-year deal, $36 million, 18 guaranteed. So that's basically a $12 million a year deal with one whole year fully guaranteed. You got that. And Shakir contract, if I'm not mistaken, was hefty too. Now, it wasn't insane. $60 million contract. Yeah, I think he got roughly $20 million a year. 4-year contract, $60 million. Did he get less than 20? Wow. I mean, that's a deal for Shakir. You got that guy at $15 million a year on a 4-year contract. Good job, Bills. Good job. I thought he would be $20 million a year, but you got the dude at 15. You got to give the Bills props for that. And you still got Keon Coleman, like we talked about earlier, who's on his second round pick contract. Obviously, you want to see a second round pick guy work out. Got some decent height there at 6'4". Funny guy, too. But maybe this is what this is all about. You're working out with Geno. We're drumming up interest. You're not signed to a team yet. That's what I think this could possibly be about. Stephon Diggs, could it be to the Raiders? Perhaps so. Perhaps so. Probably not the Bills. Okay, we got some breaking news, and this breaks my heart. All right, let me get some shit together, dude. Hey, I'm gonna start going live more often and doing like big. I'm pretty much trying to do like Pat McAfee show, but then it's just me here. I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad idea. I'm thinking about doing that. Not all the time, but at least a good amount of time. So where's this news? Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm looking up some news for a news story. I got 2 more things I want to talk about. One of these just popped up. We might have some my stomach's growling, bro, but you know what? I think I'm gonna order some DoorDash right now. What do you guys think I should get? I gotta order. Should I do Japanese or Mexican? And let's not turn this into an ethnic debate. Which culture's better? but let's Japanese food or Mexican. I think I'm gonna do Japanese. Burger, to me, like the reason why I don't order, I love burgers, by the way. I love burgers and fries. I like fries more than burgers from restaurants because I think I could make a burger hell easy. It's super easy for me to make a burger. I don't really need to order that somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm kind of like, all right. No, burger, eating out for a burger, paying like what, $20 these days for a burger when I can make one quickly. Now I can't make yakisoba. I can't make sushi. I can make enchiladas, but it'll take too long. There's a lot of things I can't do that some of these other cuisines could do for me. I can't make a bunch of guac. It'll go bad. You know what I mean? So whatever, I just ordered some food. But we'll get into this news story. A couple news stories here. The only thing I don't like about Japanese, sometimes it's too much rice. I'm like, really, you're going to give me a little bit of chicken and then all this rice? And I know rice costs like what? A couple cents, and chicken and meats would cost the real bucks, right? So where's this Renfro news, dude? This seems like a lie. People are saying Hunter Renfro retired. No, he didn't. People in the chat saying, I'm half Mexican. No, if anything, he's trying to make a comeback. Who the hell is saying Renfro retired? It's a rumor, bro. Y'all had me wrapping up shit for a rumor. All right. Real shit. Don't fucking say Hunter Renfro retired in the chat unless it actually happened. Because we got to work together. I need you guys. In order for us to pump out more stuff, I need you guys to be bringing me the facts, okay? But this was, because, yeah, recently what happened, this is the last Renfro update I remember. And I remember being kind of interested about Renfro because this dude, NFL Rumors, which, by the way, dude, I don't really like talking down on other content creators, but this guy just always posts made up stuff. And he never cites his sources. He just says he announced his retirement and he had no source for this. This NFL Rumors Twitter account just made the shit up. He's been successful because, look, here's how Twitter works. You guys want to make a lit Twitter? And by the way, if anybody wants to work for me and be hired by me to be my Twitter guy and Instagram guy, where you just have to post stuff, you can get a job with me. I mean, it's not going to be, it's at least going to pay minimum wage. It's not going to pay like crazy, but it's still a chill job to have than most jobs, right? So if you want to do that, hit me up, Twitter, Instagram, DM me. We can work something out. Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, and it's why accounts like this can blow up on Twitter. The way it works, or X, whoever posts the most wins. I mean, that's really how it goes. Whoever feeds the beast wins. YouTube's not really like that. YouTube is not really like that. You know, you got to have some quality and all kinds of things. But like with X and Twitter, whoever feeds the beast wins. So that's why these accounts, man, they seem like they have credibility, 365. And oftentimes they do just repost some of these, you know, legacy media. But this is the stuff that I don't like, man. You're saying that Renfrow announced his retirement when he didn't. And, you know, if you're willing to get this wrong on this account, what other things are wrong here that you're completely making up? And you had to get community noted by X saying, no, he hasn't. Renfrow retweeted this saying, just when I thought about making a comeback, I get hit with this bombshell. Guess I shouldn't have started working out 2 months ago. Working out again 2 months ago. But I like that little note there. I like that little note. Renfrow has been working out the past couple months. And I know a team that just restructured the contract of their quarterback who's got a lot of chemistry with Mr. Hunter Renfrow. And I'm talking about like my guy DC Derek Carr and the Saints. They got an opening, man. They need another receiver. Olave has had some availability issues. Rashid Shaheed, great deep ball, but they need that guy who could do those intricate short routes underneath, man, especially in the red zone. And Renfrow, if he's working out, 29 years old, and this is funny, Renfrow is now working in a recycling business in his home state in South Carolina. And he's 29 years old, and now he's got his own recycling business, which is funny because people used to make jokes about how Renfrow looked like a car salesman or an accountant. And this is basically the jokes they make about every single white wide receiver. Let's keep it fucking real, dude. Whenever there's a white wide receiver, it rarely happens. They get pushed into other roles in the NFL oftentimes linebacker, oftentimes offensive lineman. Usually lack the speed in some respects, but Renfrow never really had that issue. The 40 dash time he did, but when it comes to, you know, the way he could change his direction, guy's got some moves that can juke, and you saw him juke even in the Raiders 2023 against the Miami Dolphins. If I'm not mistaken, it was that game. But yeah, so now he's working the recycling business, so it's perfect. Oh, the guy who we called, he looked like a tax man, looked like a car salesman. Now he's working in the recycle business. But dude looks like he's trying to come back. So any rumors about him retiring, dude, if anything, it's the opposite. Like once Diggs goes somewhere, once Amari Cooper goes somewhere, I'm curious where he's going. Cause if he's in shape, dude, and he's taking some time off, that's less wear and tear. Yeah, you're out of the game, but the guy knows the game. You know, he's a high IQ wide receiver. He'll be fine to pick up the plays and all that. And you know he's still working out. So that's a big opportunity, man. If you're able to convince him, you got to need a wide receiver. So I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. And don't trick me, because I actually thought, basically the reason why I got upset when somebody in the chat said like, oh, he retired and he didn't. The reason why I got upset is because I cut short my other segment, right? And I wanted to keep going on that a little longer, but I think I did enough. But in the future, guys, let me know if it's just a rumor in the chat, because I'm relying on you guys, man. I'm relying on you guys heavily. All right. Oh my God. What is this? Okay, this is not football related, but here's this. Do you find women with tattoos attractive? What is going on here? Oh, this is too far, dude. She's looking like a Fortnite. Like this is a Fortnite skin on her actual body. You got this like kind of armor here. Oh, okay, it was you, Timberline? Okay, all right. It's all good. Look, I got excited that there was some Renfrow. Actually, I would have been bummed out. I was about to get sad too. But it's all good. We're all moving in the right direction. We're figuring out. But what is, okay, we're going to go back to football in a second. I actually got 3 more stories I want to talk about. But do you find women with tattoos attractive? Okay, now, if she didn't have tattoos, yes, she would be insanely more attractive, because this is just going too far. Oh, copyrighted music. Sorry. All right, sorry. Cannot do that. Okay, so it's just a loop thing. Nothing interesting happens, but yeah. What do you guys think, dude? That's it's crazier than Max Crosby, bro. I mean, that's way crazier. And that guy's inked up. But she is looking kind of like a Fortnite skin a little bit there. All right. So there's some things I wanted to talk about here. Let me pull some shit up. You guys discuss amongst yourselves some stuff. Wi-Fi Willie reaction channel teaser? Wait, what do you mean Wi-Fi Willie reaction channel teaser? Say more. You might be giving me some ideas, dude. It would be cool if she washed it off. Okay, so we got some rumors coming out here. I could pull that shit up later. Oh, okay. All right. But it matched the Drake. Oof. I mean, some people like that. Like people like the kind of like a punk rock, kind of like a rock chick. You know what I mean? Like rock and roll. Oh my goodness. I'm seeing some good thing. I'm just going to say this. Good thing I do not always screen share some of these websites when I'm looking for stuff to talk about the NFL. I don't want to burp. I almost burp. Shout out to everybody hanging out, man. Let me know if you've been here since the beginning of the stream. That's how I know that you were diehard. But we are going to try. I think I'm going to try to go live earlier, though. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to go at 11 a.m. I can't always predict the future, right? But I'm going to try to go at 11 a.m. And let's just talk about some stuff as much as we can, right? And then the future's the future, right? And some of this will become not all this stuff's going to become content. Some of it will become content. Okay. Okay. All right. We got some stuff. So I wanted, they're deleting stuff. You fucking assholes. Okay. My bad. I don't want to cuss too much. All right. And by the way, I'm trying to not show you guys all my stuff. So you don't see, you can't see exactly how the sausage is made. You just got to see the sausage, right? And I'm not trying to make a joke like that. But you catch my drift here. Dude, oh, you know what? Let's start with this. And I'm going to find some more, stuff. Let's start with this, though, man. Yes. Yes, queen. Yes, queen. We're going to become Valley girls, dude. Any of you guys ever met a Valley girl? Yes, queen.
That's what's all.
Yes, queen. Okay. This is a pretty interesting story, dude, because this is one of those stories where it's like, come on. And this has a lot to do with the quarterback situation. So hold on one second. Oh. What? So AJ Brown roasting the Raiders here. AJ Brown roasting the Raiders. I guess he has these mannequins in his home and has the Raiders one looking like a small chick, a small girl. Like, why would AJ Brown hate the Raiders? You think it'd be Cowboys? You're part of the Eagles, bro. Oh, it's all of the teams he's played in throughout his career. So he played for the Titans, and then I guess he was a Raider as a kid. So as a kid, he worked on he was playing with some Raiders Pop Warner team. That is absolutely hilarious, bro. That's hilarious. All right. I want to talk about this, though, which is Kirk Cousins' situation is insane. Look, this is what's going down. Dude got benched for Michael Penix Jr. last year due to poor play. You could blame the injuries, but I think it was generally poor play. And now we got a crazy update where it seems like the Falcons are trapping him on the team. Obviously, if you're Kirk Cousins, you'd like to be a free agent, maybe play with the Steelers if they don't grab Rodgers, play with the Browns. They're interested in Russell Wilson. Be a backup and mentor Cam Ward on the Titans. You might have an easier chance to start there as opposed to with Michael Penix on the Falcons, or you could join the New York Giants, right? there's so many options out there if you were a free agent like Kirk Cousins, but he's not a free agent. And now Terry Fontenot, the GM of the Falcons, they're keeping Kirk Cousins $10 million vested. And now that means that Kirk Cousins already been guaranteed $10 million, not only in 2025, he's got his full contract guaranteed this year, but in 2026. So they're basically paying this guy to be the backup, not only for this year, but next year with the Falcons behind Michael Penix Jr. And this is a guy who pretty much said before he wouldn't have signed with the Falcons had he known they were taking Michael Penix Jr. at, what was it, pick 6 or pick 5 in the NFL draft in 2024. And now the guarantee is subject to offset language, but Kirk Cousins met with the owner, Arthur Blank, on March 5th, stating his goal is to play elsewhere. And boom, the club says they intend to keep him on the roster, which is super crazy. Against his will, bro is being kept on the roster. So, regardless of the potential $10 million newly added to the gobs of money Atlanta paid him in the first place, team looks like they're holding on to Kirk Cousins, man. You got Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins mainly available for a trade. So a pre-June 1st trade would result in $37 million dead money, but completed after June, they could still trade Cousins with only a $12 million dead money, and you're saving. So they're probably holding on to this guy, and they're saying, hey, he's not going to be a free agent. Kirk Cousins is not going to be a free agent. We want some trade value. We don't give a shit if it's a 5th round pick, 6th round pick. We want something for this guy. And at the same time, Kirk Cousins, if you're Kirk Cousins, are you really going to get paid that big of a salary through a free agent contract? I think Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, they're not going to get paid as much as they want to get paid. Although some of these teams are getting quite desperate now. Ooh, we got some copywritten stuff here. We got to close that. But yeah. He might be down for a trade because at least he gets his same salary, Kirk Cousins. They'll be keeping Kirk Cousins on the roster, triggering a $10 million bonus. And think about how this is after he was benched and we were told that Michael Penix is going to be the starter. Kirk Cousins spoke with the media ahead of the QB change in week 16. And he didn't make really any excuses, man. I will give him credit.
Pro football and quarterback. All right, yeah, so Coach let me know yesterday that going to make a change at quarterback. It's pro football, and there's a standard that I have for myself, that the team has for me, that unfortunately, I wasn't playing up to that standard consistently enough, and so, it is what it is, and you roll with it, and now, you still get ready, one play away kind of a thing, and support Mike, and just try to help our team, be able to find a way to win these last 3 to get in the playoffs, and that's what it's all about. So
right, so very upset, sad about being benched, and then let the owner know, I want to play, and that's only going to happen if I go elsewhere. They said, oh yeah, we don't give a shit. We're keeping you on the team, buddy. You're going to mentor Michael Penix Jr. for us. And if anybody wants you, they're going to have to cough up some trade capital because we signed you. We got you under contract. It didn't work out. And you had the Achilles injury. That nagged you towards the beginning of the season. You got better mid-season. Then towards the end, we saw some regression and some interceptions that we really hadn't seen from Kirk Cousins, man. I don't know if he knew that Penix was breathing down his neck, but I felt like this guy choked and was in, he's not the most athletic guy. So part of his game is that he makes good decisions. And we just saw Kirk Cousins making bad decisions. I mean, that's really what I think spelled his doom towards the latter half of the year, which is crazy because he really never had that big of an issue throughout his career. You're just kind of like, he's too much of a classic pocket passer. That kind of sucks, right? You're limited there. He can make his reads, but once the play, he's not really going to, extend plays, even like a Rodgers. He's not going to do nothing like that. And now you got Michael Penix Jr., who's pumped about his opportunity, man. And he just got interviewed by John Gruden Super Bowl week.
See, I love watching Trent McDuffie.
He plays things like, it's great, man. Man, he's special.
Line up empty. He looks like a wideout coming off the ball. Talk about
All right, so where's that part? Who are we talking about?
how important it is to
get off a book.
that beat anybody because of our preparation. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. Let's talk about where you are with the offense in terms of learning. You had a chance to sit behind Kirk Cousins. He got thrown to the Wolves as a rookie. He got thrown to the Wolves as a rookie. What was that experience like, taking advantage of a veteran like Cousins?
I mean, it was great. You know, a lot of people asked me about that situation, you know, how I felt about it, you know, if I was upset because I was put in that situation. But, man, I was blessed, man. Like I said, you know, I feel like God put me in that situation for a reason. You know, I was able to watch. I was able to develop and grow and learn each and every day, you know, watching Kirk, you know, just obviously a veteran in his 13th year this past year. And he was playing at a high level, you know, especially early on, you know, just seeing how he was processing, eliminating stuff, getting to the back, you know, just on time. You know, everything is always on time. And, you know, that's some stuff like you can just watch. Like some people,
you know, that kind of just makes me think about Rodgers and Russell Wilson, where they're going to go. And when you're looking at the Browns or the Giants, whether or not they're going to draft Shador, right? And if Michael Penix is talking about the value and just literally just seeing how a professional franchise quarterback acts at work, the NFL is different than college. If you don't know what it's like, if you don't see somebody as an example in the QB room, what are you going to go off of? So Rodgers, Russell, that could be really valuable for somebody who's trying to learn and watch this guy work for 1 year. And that's pretty much what Michael Penix was able to do. And he seems like he really valued sitting behind Cousins.
Ask me, like, what did he teach me? It's like, I wasn't expecting him to teach me anything. You know, I wanted to, you know, I got to pick up on that stuff on my own. Like, it's not his job to teach me, you know, how to play quarterback in the NFL. But, you know, for me, it's like, I'm going to watch what you do each and every day and how you go about your business and, you know, lead this football team because you've been doing it for a long time. And, you know, I did that. And whenever I got that chance, that time to go out, you know, I made sure I was ready each and every day, each and every game, because it's like, at the end of the day, I'm the backup, but I'm one play away. So just always being ready, you know, just always mentally, physically being ready.
Maybe they're just going to keep the guy, though, man, and keep Kirk Cousins and make him stay as a backup. I mean, if you got Kirk Cousins as your backup, that's one of the best backups you could possibly ask for in the NFL. So, and yeah, we're talking to the chat about who's really going to trade draft capital and take on that Cousins contract. I don't think anybody's going to do that. But Atlanta's playing hardball. They're saying, hey, we're going to let this money guarantee. So, like, he's going to be our backup. If you want him, you got to trade, and he's going to be our backup if you're not willing to trade. So Atlanta's playing hardball. We'll see if they get it. So after June 1st, I mean, they could designate a trade post June 1st, so it could happen at any moment right now. But very clearly playing hardball and not afraid to be like, hey, this is what we're doing, bro. This is what we're doing. Now, I do want to say, I feel like, so out of nowhere, like Aaron Rodgers is the biggest story in the NFL right now. Free agency is wrapped up. There's a couple signings here. Quarterback gets more attention than anything. And I feel like people are hating on Aaron Rodgers because right now he has the most power that he has had since he decided to join the New York Jets from the Green Bay Packers. You have Colin Cowherd saying Rodgers is holding teams hostage. You also have frustration about how he needs to hurry up and pick a team. And what this all centers around and is the fact that, let me just pull this up, is the fact that recently we had it be known that Rodgers is on the stroll of a beach in Southern California, pondering his NFL future, trying to decide where he wants to go. So Rodgers pondering his decision, and this has frustrated a lot of people, wanting him to make a decision already. He's holding it up because last time he had to make a decision about whether or not he would stay and play with the Green Bay Packers back in 2023, or is he going to be traded to the New York Jets or retire. People are so pissed that he's back in this opportunity where these teams are waiting on him. They're waiting on him and trying to figure out what the hell he wants to do so they can then decide what they want to do. But I'm not going to hate on him for doing that. I'm not going to hold that against him. I think that these people in the NFL media, and I'm going to show you guys some stuff, I think they're just jealous. They're just jealous of the fact that right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are extremely desperate. They let Fields walk. They already let Russell Wilson test free agency, so you can't bring Russ back after you basically rejected him. And the Giants, I mean, unless they think Shedeur is the answer, which they clearly don't because they were begging for Matthew Stafford, going to pay him $55 million a year, and now they're begging for Aaron Rodgers and just had a meeting with Russell Wilson. So these two teams in particular are so desperate for Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers had all the power in the world before he joined the New York Jets. Jets had to give up some draft capital, right? And then he took a team-friendly deal. You got to give him some credit for that. But everybody wanted this guy, and everybody was waiting for this guy. And we were trying to figure out what's going to happen with this darkness retreat. Oh, they deleted it. They deleted it. Okay. Well, we know what happened with the Aaron Rodgers darkness retreat. And that's where Rodgers had to go there in the darkness and contemplate his future, right? And now he is basically in the same situation where they're waiting on this guy. Steelers have begun to look at external options in case Rodgers doesn't land with them. But what I found the most interesting was
the Rodgers. My guess would be like the Vikings actually throwing their hat in the ring and actually making an offer to Aaron Rodgers would probably change the dynamic a bunch. They're still discussing that. So whether or not they actually throw their hat in the ring, we'll see. As of last night, I know they were still discussing it. Maybe they throw their hat in the ring now. It's obviously a fluid situation, and there's a lot going on.
So that's the twist, is that there's reports out there that maybe that Rodgers actually wants to go to the Vikings because the Vikings are relying on J.J. McCarthy right now. That dude got injured and missed the whole year last year, and Sam Darnold had to step in. That can happen again. Like, unfortunately, in the NFL, when a player suffers that kind of injury, it just makes you concerned. Is it going to happen again? Is it likely to happen again? And this is something that you can't control. You want to have a good backup quarterback anyway. But the Vikings are loaded right now, man. They have signed so many great players. And yeah, Vikings, best free agency grade because they just kept loading up on talent. They got the Commanders D lineman, who I really like, man, Jonathan Allen. They grabbed him, re-signed Harrison Smith, kept Byron Murphy Jr., brought back Aaron Jones, the running back, stole the Colts center, Ryan Kelly, and you grabbed Jonathan Allen, which I think is a monster at the defensive line, and Javon Hargrave. Keep in mind, this is a team that already has Daniil Hunter under contract. They got the nice pass rusher in the draft last year that I'm blanking on his name immediately, but this is a team that's loaded. You got Justin Jefferson under contract. So you're going to tell me this team wants to go in the year naked with only J.J. McCarthy and just, let's just hope the guy who was injured all last year doesn't get injured again. And then we got no real backup plan. Like, to me, you'd much rather just plug in Rodgers, compete, try to recreate that Sam Darnold magic he had last year. And then if he gets injured or crap the bed, then rely on J.J. McCarthy. And that kind of would probably give J.J. McCarthy a little more confidence there.
Yeah, we're waiting. Everybody is waiting. Everyone's frustrated. I can tell you that. I feel like the New York Giants are almost at a point right now where they're just ignoring it and they're just trying to find another plan in case this doesn't work out. I think the Steelers don't have as many options. I mean, they'll obviously go find someone if Aaron Rodgers decides not to play for them, but they're in a position where they're waiting. And
this is what I'm talking about, though. These people are just so pissed that Aaron Rodgers is holding it up and he's got all the power, bro. Like, this, if you're the Steelers, like we said, what are you going to do? Bring back Russ with his tail between his legs after you kicked him to the curb? Or you're going to draft Shedeur and you're going to expect that to work out? I mean, come on. If you're the Browns, what are you going to do? You got Kenny Pickett under contract. You think your fans are really going to believe you're going to compete this year with Kenny Pickett as your starting quarterback? I mean, they should have kept Jameis Winston if you're going to do that. You're the Giants. I mean, you're about to be fired. If you're the Giants, at this point, you are already fired. Like Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, the way that I look at it, people go, they're on the hot seat. No, they're not on the hot seat. They are already, in a symbolic way, They are already fired, and they have to just prove this year why they should not be fired. It's already like 70% fired when you got your owner saying this is your last year. So these insiders are just pissed. We're like, dude, Rodgers can get $45 million a year right now if he really wants. Like if Rodgers isn't trying to go to the Vikings and he just wants to get the most money, he will get $45 million a year. Now, he's not going to get that on a multi-year deal. He will get that on like a 1-year deal for sure. It's not going to be a multi thing, but he will get $45 million to play this year if he really wants to just choose the most money. Now, if he's going to prioritize winning, obviously he should go to the Steelers or maybe the Vikings, right? That's what Rodgers should do. But he's got all the power, baby.
No one has had a lot of, there's not been a lot of communication with the player directly, despite the fact that contracts have been discussed, the structures of them, the money. And in the meantime, you've got the Minnesota Vikings here lurking, and they haven't made a decision just yet. They've had conversations over the last few days about whether or not they really want to do this.
Yeah. So Rodgers, he's at the center stage, and we're all waiting to find out what the hell is this guy going to do. So we know the Steelers grabbed DK Metcalf. Steelers traded a 2nd-round pick for him, and now he's on the Steelers team, making $30 million a year.
What's up, Steeler Nation? DK Metcalf here. Can't wait to put on the black and gold. And just once, shout out to my agent and mini agent, Grayson and Joe Kills, for helping me put all this together. Shout out to my beautiful fiance, man, for being here with me. But can't wait to step on the field, man, with the rest of the Black and Gold Nation.
So the Russell Wilson thing too, and this was something that happened, is Russell Wilson's great friends with DK Metcalf. Found out about the marriage early and all that. Like they're really good friends. So DK Metcalf would obviously like to play with Danger Russ. But like I said, I think that's a little too awkward for this guy to lead after you pretty much ghosted him in free agency. And you see Russ give a shout out to DK and his fiance, him getting engaged there. So you got that relationship, but if you're the Steelers, you are now paying. You don't want to end up like the Raiders with Devontae Adams, where the Raiders did the stupidest thing where you have this receiver for 2 years. I'm talking about mainly 23 and 24, and you don't have a QB for him. And it's like, what is the point in paying this receiver like $30 million a year when you don't have a quarterback for him? It doesn't make any sense. You got to have yourself a Joe Burrow. You got to have yourself at least a Geno Smith and Derek Carr for it to be worth it. And the Steelers might end up in the same situation. And this is kind of like the Vikings situation until they grabbed J.J. McCarthy when they were kind of in limbo last year, relying on Joshua Dobbs. Kirk Cousins was injured. Not last year, but in 2023, where you're going to be giving $30 million to your wide receiver and you don't have a quarterback. So the Steelers now, they have to get Aaron Rodgers. They have to get somebody like that of that caliber, because no rookie QB besides Cam Ward's going to make it work with this guy in year one. And then you just wasted $30 million. Right? And we already know, dude. We already know Mike Tomlin likes himself some Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he has said positive things about the guy. They're both old school quarterback minds, man. Remember them? People joked around about them flirting when they were playing around about the timeouts. Tomlin called a timeout before Rodgers was able to snap the ball on a hurry up. I believe that's what happened. And they had a little flirt. And the media was going crazy on this time. Like, man, why is Tomlin flirting with Rodgers? Is he about to go to Pittsburgh? And this was in 2021. So this has been a thing for some time. And I think it's going to happen. I think they got to make it happen. I think what we're waiting on right now is whether or not, and here's another one, bro. I did not even know this one. So they had more where they're kind of making some faces at each other.
First charge, timeout, Pittsburgh, 30 seconds. First charge, timeout the field. First charge, timeout, Pittsburgh, 30 seconds.
A little sideline flirting between, Mr. Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers there. But I think what's happening right now is Aaron Rodgers is going to use his leverage. He's going to act like he's stuck on the beach and he could wait on this beach all day before he figures out what the hell he's going to do. And then I think, bam, he's going to just sign the contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe they get him at a discount at like $35 million a year. I think it's going to be expensive, and I think he's using the Giants, Browns as leverage, and he's also using the Vikings as leverage, where he's sort of like, hey, I would definitely take less money to play with the Vikings. I mean, why the F not? Why the F not? I would definitely use that as leverage there. And some say the Vikings say it's literally 50-50 whether Rodgers signs with the team. And look, maybe the NFC North could be vulnerable. A lot of pressure is going to be on the Bears with Ben Johnson. A lot of pressure on the Lions. How are they going to do without Ben Johnson, without Aaron Glenn at the coordinator position? I really like their new offensive coordinator, though. I think he's not going to be that bad. And I've heard some positive things about him, actually, from John Gruden on his show, or he was interviewed talking about, the Lions' new offense coordinator. But it's going to be a tough division still. But there's pressure on two teams, pressure on the Packers after making the playoffs, pressure on Jordan Love. And I feel like the Vikings, if they grab Rodgers, it's actually kind of low pressure because you got a loaded team and you got the young guy in the background. So, hey, if things don't work out, at least we're developing McCarthy and we're good to go. And we'll try to really hit the ground running in year 3, year 4, and the 5th year option with JJ McCarthy. So 50-50. Vikings could also pull the trigger. But I think at the end of the day, the biggest story amongst all of this is the NFL media just hates Rodgers because he was immunized, right? Like that, they just go after this guy and overly criticize him nonstop. He's holding up these teams. Dude, he's weighing his options because it's a pretty freaking big decision. It's going to be the last contract he signs in his Hall of Fame NFL career. And I'm sorry if he's going to take a little extra time deciding that. It's not about that. They don't give a shit that he's taking time. The NFL insiders just hate the fact that he's got his beliefs. He's got his views on things that are different than some people, mainly than one big party. And that's what this is all about. And it kind of sucks because I really wish this was more complicated than just politics. I really wish there was more to this. And, there's actually something else, why people don't like Rodgers. But unfortunately, I think it is just that simple. ESPN doesn't like Aaron Rodgers because he likes RFK. There you go. I said it. Is that controversial? We all know that's what this is all about. And until these people on ESPN and different media heads like Diana Rossini, which I think she's a great reporter, but I just think the frustration towards Rodgers is misguided. And until these people just change a little bit, and let's try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and let's try to push people's beliefs aside from that, and let's try to figure out what's actually going on here, right? Until people do that, we're never going to be able to figure out what these teams are thinking, what this player's thinking, what are the motives, and what's really going on here. If you're so blinded by that, how are we supposed to figure out these tough NFL negotiations when you got that block in the way? So I think it's unfortunate, man. I really do.
The moves they've made, I'd argue yes. You see how much they've built up their offensive line, their defensive line. I'd argue yes. You Super Bowl right now can contend for a Super Bowl right now with the moves they've made. I'd argue yes. You see how much they've built up their offensive line, their defensive line. I love what
she's talking about. Vikings, they're looking like they're on a bull run. So this came out this morning. Today's the 16th, right? I always forget. So this came out this morning, which was Jeremy Fowler. I mean, this is basically ESPN saying Rodgers does have standing offers from the Steelers and the Giants. Teams are waiting it out. And the feeling is there's not just a money consideration here. There's fit, there's surroundings and all those things. Because Rodgers has cash, dude. I mean, he has plenty of money. Vikings are sort of on the periphery here. It's possible they get involved with Rodgers, but the feeling this week has been probably not. They want to develop JJ McCarthy. Vikings want to take that risk, dude. If I'm the Vikings, I need a backup plan for JJ. I mean, the guy was out all last year. If I'm them, I need something. And Joe Flacco is not going to be enough. I need a big backup plan if I'm the Vikings. We got to figure some shit out, dude. So they seem like they're out. We'll see what happens. If I'm Rodgers, I want the Vikings. If I'm the Vikings, I should want Rodgers, but they're not seeing it that way. They are not seeing it that way right now. I like JJ too. I like JJ as a prospect. I'm just saying, dude, you got a Super Bowl roster right now. You really want to watch this guy go out, and then you're like, oh, damn, probably should have grabbed Rodgers for at least a 1-year deal, 30 mil, 35, fully guaranteed. Maybe he goes lower for the Vikings compared to the Steelers. He might go 25. You know, he might just say, F it, dude. I mean, he took a team-friendly deal for the Jets. He knows how to, work his magic to convince a team to go in on him if he's willing to take a discount, bro. But all in all, I think the media is just hating on the guy, dude. Hating on A-Rod. All right. So a couple more things we want to talk about, man. How you guys doing? We got a good amount of people here. We talked about a lot of things earlier, really. We talked about Rodgers. We didn't really talk about Russell, but I feel like the conversation around Russell is the same as Rodgers. There's nothing really new there. This is interesting, though. And let me go ahead. I forgot. Yeah, we got to talk about this. I forgot. There was some funny stuff that happened over the weekend. Let me make sure I didn't lose it. Maybe you guys could already see what I'm about to show you. Caleb on Chase on. Oh, $5 million deal. Where was that thing at? I'm pulling it up. Dude, it went away. Okay. Because I didn't want to talk about the drama, right? So we had some Cowboys drama over the weekend, and now we got some more, in my opinion, kind of some more Cowboys drama, especially given with how, in my opinion, I think the draft is shaken out. So, right. Here we go. So we know that Dak Prescott is the franchise quarterback of the Cowboys. Cooper Rush, though, was the backup, and he is now signed to an extension with the Baltimore Ravens. Not an extension, but he's signed to a fresh new contract with the Baltimore Ravens, 2-year, $6.1 million a year. He's going to be backing up Lamar Jackson. I kind of find that weird. I think they should roll with a Tyler Huntley. That way you could have a similar playbook to Lamar. But that's what they're doing. But the biggest story over the weekend was the drama between the Cowboys from former edge defender DeMarcus Lawrence, who took a shot at the Dallas Cowboys, and then later Micah Parsons as he joined the Seattle Seahawks. So he signed with the Seahawks and took a shot at the Cowboys on the way out.
You know, Dallas is my home. I made my home there. You know, my family lives there. You know, I'm forever going to be there. But, you know, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So, yeah. We here.
We're here. DeMarcus Lawrence, welcome to the Seahawks. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and then he could see the shock on the reporter's face that he took that shot, and that's where he's like, yeah, I said it.
Yeah. So, I won a Super Bowl there. So, yeah.
I like that. And of course, the podcaster, where is he at? The podcaster / edge rusher. I think Micah Parsons is becoming more of a podcaster than a football player lately, and you got a lot of people criticizing him. Of course, he had to chime in here. This is what rejection and envy look like. This is some clown shit, which I don't know. You want to clown on DeMarcus Lawrence? Yeah, he dealt with some injuries last year, but still productive, especially against the run. Something that Micah Parsons, can't really do. Micah Parsons is an amazing pass rusher, but he's kind of a one-trick pony. I like defensive ends that could do both, who could stop the run and be a great pass rusher. Personally, that's where I would put my money, and maybe that's why Micah Parsons hasn't got that fat new contract from Jerry Jones out there with the Dallas Cowboys. But he took a shot. He took a shot at DeMarcus Lawrence. This is what rejection looks like, some clown shit. And obviously, everybody went off on this, and DeMarcus Lawrence had to clap back saying, calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left so, DeMarcus Lawrence making it sound like he didn't reject the Cowboys, or that the Cowboys didn't reject him. He rejected the Cowboys. Micah Parsons trying to say it's the opposite. And there's some bad blood there. No response from Parsons after the diss by Marcus Lawrence. But the moment that Lawrence was keyed to go to the Seahawks, you saw Parsons wrote, "It's my time." I don't know if these guys never got along there out there in Dallas. I find it weird they'd be salty like this. Lawrence is the veteran who's been in the league a lot longer than Micah Parsons. Maybe Parsons didn't react well to his mentorship. I don't know. But yeah. And then you got Cowboys fans fighting back, right? Saying, hey, you're on the same team. Lawrence was injured far more of the year than Parsons. But I bring all this up, and I'm bringing up the Cowboys because mainly due to the fact that Cooper Rush is now on the Ravens. That leaves just Trey Lance on the roster. Is Trey Lance, because they had to exercise his 5th-year option, so he is still on the roster, right? Because they didn't exercise his 5th year. Right. So he's not on the roster. Wait. Where is Trey Lance? Is he still on the roster? Oh my, we got to find out together. Because I know that they traded for Trey Lance last year. And is he? Oh yeah, he's a free agent. So Trey Lance is a free agent. Nobody has hit him up after the Cowboys had acquired him last year. And now with Cooper Rush joining the Ravens, Cowboys don't have a backup QB right now. They really need to figure that out. And that's a big story popping up with NFL Network, which is the Cowboys now need a backup QB. And here is what Stephen Jones said when it comes to this. They said they were focused on Trey Lance, and this is the big thing, but all those things we will start to evaluate with this draft and that group, what's available out there, what's going to be in the draft, and make the best decision in terms of what we're going to have behind Dak. So key points here is that backup QB is something that the Cowboys will look to in the draft. So the Cowboys want to draft a backup quarterback behind Dak Prescott. And if you're Dak Prescott and you're dealing with Jerry Jones, who's always been reluctant to have you really extend you, besides lately, I would be scared if I'm Dak. You got somebody breathing down your neck. You got that out in the contract in 2028. It would be difficult for the Cowboys to move on from him. They're basically tied to Dak all the way up until 2026, so this year and next year. And really, this is what we really need to look out for when you're talking about if Dak Prescott's going to be moved on from the Cowboys, and is it only going to be like a 2-year deal? $45 million, 2027, 5th league day of 2026. So basically, if Dak is still on the roster next year, that $45 million for 2027 becomes guaranteed. He's already got $40 million guaranteed for 2026, but you could eat that if you got a cheap QB. So really, if you're the Cowboys, you could trade Dak next offseason and be fine. These numbers look way crazier than they really are. Post-June trade, even a you couldn't do a pre-June 1st trade, but do a post-June 1st trade with Dak in the 2026 offseason. So that could really happen. And the fact that they say they're looking for draft when it comes to, what the fuck? Where'd that shit go? Sorry, guys. I lost it. But you know what I mean? The fact that they were looking to the draft for QB, what's the other big story that we have right now? You're looking for the draft for your QB. Well, guess what? There's a quarterback out there. His name is Shedeur Sanders, and everybody keeps talking about how nobody wants this guy. I mean, we got the Giants and the Steelers, and the Browns are trying to get Russell Wilson. It doesn't seem like
the Steelers, they're in a holding pattern right now. And the hard thing about this is they have only one quarterback under contract. That's Tommy DeVito, right?
And it's just like the fact that we see the Giants up here desperate for Rodgers. They just got Tommy DeVito. fact that we see the Cleveland, kind of more into Russell Wilson and don't seem really hot on these QBs in the draft. Maybe they'll go for Shador, but if Shador gets past the Giants in Cleveland, there's no other team that I could see selecting him. Every other team is kind of in a desperate move right now where they're like, bro, I gotta get some assets for my team. Like all these other teams need players. Cowboys need some help too, mainly on the D line to help out Micah Parsons, but they just got a fat extension to one of the younger defensive linemen who came on the scene last year. And if I'm not mistaken, man, this is a roster that has already got a lot of people paid. And when I'm looking at pick 12 there at Dallas, I really just feel like the Jerry Jones, Shador Sanders, if nobody takes this guy, can we really see Shador Sanders fall and join the Dallas Cowboys and sit behind Dak Prescott for 1 year and then they eat that contract? I just showed you how you could move on from Dak in 2026 with the post-June 1st trade. And how often have we heard Jerry Jones and Shador, dude, and Dion and their friendship and their connection and the fact that he's always been, right? Loves the guy, friends and hugs, Jerry Jones, Shador. And what are they talking about when they're huddling like that? And this is in 2023, a couple years ago. I know I'm jumping the gun.
Jerry Jones, Shador, and Coach Prime.
You know what I mean? And it just makes me think, if we keep hearing about Shador dropping, we're now seeing the Cowboys not have a backup QB, and now they're openly saying they're going to look to the draft for a QB. And you're looking at Dak's contract, the fact that Dak was injured all last year, the fact that Dak doesn't even seem happy in Dallas. I mean, does the dude even want to be like? Where's the "we suck" comment? The dude doesn't really even seem like he wants to be on the Cowboys. We effing suck. Okay, so we got this guy saying, "Shout out to Materian, man. Can't see him in Dallas. I think it'll be Vegas." I think Vegas needs players, man. I don't think Brady's gonna reach for Shador, and I think the Raiders are a team where, if you were planning on taking Shador anyways, you shouldn't have signed Geno to a fat contract. Now, if I would have seen the Raiders grab Mariota or something, then I could see that. But this tells me they're out of it. But Dak, with his relationship with Jerry Jones, it's never seemed sweet. You have his brother Tad Prescott, who's always saying negative things about the organization of the Cowboys. He got happy after he got the extension.
That's something I know he wants to continue to do. How I feel about it, again, all bullshitting aside, is truly how he feels about it. I support him no matter where he wants to be, no matter what he wants to do. I've made the comments on Twitter that I want him out of Dallas. Again, that has been more so to the fans that constantly write me or DM me that your brother ain't shit, your brother will never win, your brother's nothing. So I'm like, well, cool, get him out of Dallas so you can see what this franchise would look like without 12 of the season, without a guy that constantly put y'all in position on the playoffs. Could he have a better playoff record? He'll tell you himself he could. But still, like I said, over the last 3 seasons, this guy has 36 wins in the regular season.
So there you go. So this is his brother. This is his bro, Tad Prescott. You could tell it's his bro because they got the same freaking facial hairstyle. They got that same cleanup they always like to do. But his brother and his brother could say, "Oh, I'm jabbing at the fans," or your brother could say, "Oh, this is just what I think. It's no reflection on Dak." Bullshit. Just cut the bullshit. And this goes to all players and all coaches in the NFL. This goes to CeeDee Lamb's mom, who said Dak ain't it. I'm sorry, I got to bring that up. Like you can go out there and say my mom doesn't represent, what I'm trying to say or whatnot. My brother doesn't represent what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, dude. Who's feeding Tad Prescott? Who's feeding you all this information? Who's telling you how who's telling you, oh, by the way, we got CeeDee Lamb reacting to DeMarcus Lawrence leaving.
Don't take over. What's happening, my peeps? I don't even know.
We lost the Seahawks. Whoa.
Who? Excuse me? Wait, what?
CeeDee Lamb doesn't seem happy about that.
He's gone.
Who went to the Seahawks?
Listen, y'all. DeMarcus Lawrence. D-Law traded is sick. I gotta hit my man's up.
Did that just happen?
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat and they let me know. I ain't gonna lie, shout out them.
Dang. So CeeDee Lamb did not seem stoked about DeMarcus Lawrence getting traded away. But okay. Back to this though. So Tad Prescott can say, "Oh, this is just my opinion." And CeeDee Lamb's mother could say, "Oh, this is just my opinion. It's not what CeeDee thinks." But like I said earlier, who's the one feeding you all this info? I mean, I could totally see at the dinner table, CeeDee Lamb being like telling his mom, "Man, Dak, he's got to get it together. He keeps missing me. I'm wide open. He doesn't get the ball to me. He choked in this game. We would have won this game, but he threw that pick or he threw it away." I mean, who else is feeding Lita Ramirez here, who is CeeDee Lamb's mom? And look, this is even worse, where it's like, tell the youngin to come to the home team, the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud would love him. Shit, I wish he would. CJ is great. So you're talking, this was January of last year. And you could try to say, "Oh, you know, this doesn't apply," but I just feel like these Cowboys people are all there for the money. CD's there for the money. Dak's there for the money. And it just doesn't feel like they have real chemistry. I feel like when the Cowboys had Jason Garrett, it was Zeke in year 2, Dak in year 2, 2017. I feel like that's when the Cowboys just had a lot of chemistry on their team. And lately, over the past few years, I feel like there's just segments and cliques and factions inside the Cowboys organization, all there for money, no real chemistry. And if they had the choice, if they really could go somewhere else for close to the same amount of money, they all probably would. That's what it seems like, man. And I think the Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence exchange that we just showed earlier shows that there is just a lot of drama and baggage out there in Dallas. And the fact that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones seem to be eyeing the draft for a QB and Shedeur Sanders is falling, I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years from now, you see the Cowboys move off from the Dak Prescott contract. Shedeur Sanders is sitting behind Dak, learning how to be a QB with Dion, helping to be a liaison for the team. You pay Micah Parsons and just reset this team around Shedeur. That seems to be more and more likely than Shedeur joining Browns or even the Giants at this point, unless it's all smoke. And then we're going to wake up on draft night, which we will be live on draft night. And then we just see Shedeur going to the freaking Titans. Watch that happen, right? So how's it going, everybody? Shout out to Rebecca Diamond in the chat. Covered a lot of stories, dude. You know what? That might be enough stories. By the way, dude, hiring for social media. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. We can work out a rate just for people to post on my behalf. Don't say anything too crazy. And yeah, plenty of other roles too. Checking out the chat. I want to hear some more from the chat, guys. Send your questions, thoughts, and answers. Want to know what you guys think while Aaron Rodgers ponders his future in the darkness. And you know what's crazy? We didn't, because I haven't been going live much, and this is sort of a dead time. We had a peak of a good amount of people in here. Oh wow! I think I watched the Devontae stuff, and that hurt too many Raiders fans' feelings. They got upset about the Devontae. I do also think I have automatic ads in here, which I'm doing because we got to pay the bills somehow, dude. We got to pay the bills somehow. Oh yeah. This is sort of a small topic, but what we're talking about, I brought this up in, I did a video about Nate Hobbs signing to the Packers. And I believe on the video, I was teasing the Tyler Lockett, Geno Smith type of rumors. So it's and that's the thing about some of my videos. Sometimes like other subtopics are nested in these bigger topics. I think it's going to be a great fit, dude. I really do. And what I like seeing, I've always liked Hobbs. Let's see if there's anything inappropriate here. Okay, cool. And I've always liked Hobbs, and this is making me feel similar to some things that I've seen before, which is we got our guy, Charles Woodson, giving a shout out to Nate Hobbs, who is going to wear Woodson's number that Charles Woodson wore when he switched from the Raiders to the Green Bay Packers.
I don't think it's a quote that Nipsey Hussle said, it's a lot of pressure, but it's on your mind, so it's not really pressure. If you thinking about it that way, then it's going to be pressure. But if you believe in yourself and believe in and be where your feet at, you know what I'm saying, and be in the moment, not too much pressure.
Very soft-spoken guy.
Obviously,
whoa.
Charles Woodson, a great, you know what I'm saying, Hall of Famer.
Ooh, Charles, there we go.
Charles Woodson. Obviously, 21, Charles Woodson, a great, you know what I'm saying, Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it. I got to pay him homage.
Did you ever talk to him when you were with the Raiders?
I did. I spoke to him about 2 to 3 times.
Okay.
And he was always helpful. He was always seemed like he was in my corner, you know what I'm saying? And he gave me a shout out, said I was a dog, so I appreciate him. And hopefully we can reconnect out here.
So there you have it, man. The Raiders-Packers connection, a lot of crossover with players over the years. And, you know, we talked about the fact that the, you know, Packers have had Keyshawn Nixon and Rich Bisaccia. They got him as a special teams coach out there. And you got Charles Woodson giving him a shout out. Nate Hobbs, I think this was a great deal. I think if you're trying to find an outside corner, I understand being a little reluctant on Hobbs, but if you're looking for a slot guy, man, that guy's great. Either way, we're going to go live again when there's more stories. Tomorrow we will be live 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'm going to try to go earlier even if I can, but 11 to 12, dude, check me out live. If you guys enjoy the live content, I've been live for over 2 hours breaking down different stories, and we're going to keep doing that, and especially during the regular season. We may take some time off here and there because in June it's like dead for sports news, but definitely July. Come July and August, man, we're gonna be here live, doing all kinds of stories. So become a member if you want to support these live streams. The more members, the more live streams we'll do. But my name is Wifiwillie, man. Peace out. Glad to be back, and I hope you have a good one.